fam, the crypto news alerts. In today's show, we're going to be discussing Bitcoin miner outflow ratio hitting a 6-month high and a new threat to the Bitcoin price action. That's right, Bitcoin miners are upping sales, but the Bitcoin price metrics hint that a relief rally could be next. Also in today's show, former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried denies improper use of customer funds in his latest interview. That's right, according to the former CEO, at the time of filing for bankruptcy, FTX US was solvent. Also in today's show, Mike Novogratz says Bankman-Fried is delusional and headed to jail in a recent interview. That's right, the Galaxy Digital CEO alleges Bankman-Fried and his cohorts perpetuated fraud and suggested they should be in jail. Also in today's show, breaking news, Italy to impose a 26% capital gains tax on crypto profits. That's right, the 26% capital gains tax will be imposed on crypto trading profits larger than 2,000 euros, which is currently $2,062. Also in today's show, Ripple versus the SEC, crypto legal expert breaks down the upcoming ruling in the XRP lawsuit. I'll be breaking down the latest details. Also in today's show, Mike Novogratz backs off of his call for the Bitcoin price to hit $500,000 in 5 years and blames the Fed rate hikes. That's right, Bitcoin now faces a tougher path to eventually reaching that $500,000 Bitcoin target, according to Novogratz, the Galaxy Digital executive chief, backing down from his previous prediction that the token would hit that level within 5 years. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Welcome everyone just tuning in to today's live show of Crypto News Alerts podcast episode number 1121 of the Crypto News Alerts pod. And today is December 2nd, 2022. And we have lots to cover. So let's dive right into today's crypto market watch. We can see Bitcoin is down 0.32%, trading just under $17,000 at the time of this live stream. We got Ether up 0.5%, trading just under $1,300, while Polkadot, Avalanche, and Cardano are in the green, while Binance Coin, XRP, and Doge are in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap is sitting at $851 billion, with $41 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the current Bitcoin dominance at 38.1% and the Ether dominance on the rise at 18.4%. And checking out the top 100 cryptocurrency gainers in the past 24 hours, let's get the latest refresh. We got the Trust Wallet token leading the pack, up 18%, trading at $2.44. FYI, this was developed by Binance. We also have Ethereum Powell, which is Ethereum proof of work, up 0.04%, trading at $3.88, followed by Terra Classic, up 11%, and trading at 0.00017. And checking out the top 100 cryptocurrency gainers for the past week, we can see a sea of green for the alts, which is definitely a good sign. We got FTM up 35%, we got GMX up 22%, and Ape up 22.5%. And checking out one of my favorite indicators, Crypto Greed and Fear Index, shows we're currently rated 27 in fear, same as yesterday, last week a 20 in extreme fear, and last month a 30 in fear. And if you're not familiar with the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, extreme fear can be a sign investors are too worried. That could be a great buying opportunity like we're witnessing right now. BTFD, buy that freaking dip. And when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. So there you have it. I want to welcome everyone just tuning in to today's live show. Next, let's dive right into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. Bitcoin entering a prime low risk bottom zone as sellers finally accept their FTX losses. That's right. Data from on-chain analytics Glassnode shows that seller exhaustion is reaching ideal levels for the King crypto. Price leg up. That's right, almost 1 month after the FTX implosion began, Bitcoin investors have either capitulated and sold at a loss or continue to hodl unrealized losses. Keeping in mind 1 Bitcoin is still equivalent to 1 Bitcoin, and if you didn't sell, you really didn't lose anything. As Cointelegraph reported, those losses became significant just days after the event, with over 50% of the Bitcoin supply held in the red. Now, another on-chain metric is painting a potentially more bullish picture when it comes to hodlers' loss-making Bitcoin investments. The seller exhaustion constant, which measures the relationship between supply and profit and 30-day volatility, is repeating behavior from June of this year, originally created by ARK Invest and David Puel, responsible for the Puel multiple. The seller exhaustion constant suggests that when the volatility is low but losses are high, it is less likely the Bitcoin will go lower Improper, quoting them here, specifically, the combo of low volatility and high losses is associated with capitulation, complacency, and bottoming out of the Bitcoin price. ARK explained that situation reflects the current status quo, and if the June price action repeats itself, a relief rally should be due for the King crypto. And in its own description, Glassnode describes such conditions as low-risk bottoms, which you can see in this seller exhaustion constant chart. And now check this out. Hurdles to that relief rally come into fruition, nonetheless remain. Bitcoin miners feared to be entering a new wave of capitulation, having upped sales of Bitcoin reserves, according to the latest data. Facing the perfect storm of record hash rate and fading profit margins, miners have signaled that upheaval is coming, with Bitcoin network fundamentals only now beginning to adjust to reflect it. Quoting William Clemente, right here, we are potentially entering into a double bottom dip minor capitulatory period, he said, and Reflexivity Research warned this week, referring to the popular hash ribbons metric used to monitor miner profitability. Quoting them here, hash ribbons has just initiated a bearish cross. Historically, this has been a leading indicator of miner capitulation, and also Glassnode's miner outflow multiple, which measures the Bitcoin outflows from miner wallets relative to their one-year moving average, is now at its highest in 6 months at 1.073. The multiple, as with seller exhaustion, nonetheless echoes the June macro Bitcoin price bottom. So there you have it. Let me know if you are currently short-term bullish or bearish on the King crypto for the rest of this year, as we have less than a month until we kick off 2023. With that being shared, now let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss Bankman-Fried's latest interview and him claiming that it was a mistake and he did not utilize improper use of the customer funds, in which we already know he did. Now check this out. An interview between the former FTX CEO Bankman-Fried and George Stephanopoulos aired on Google Morning America December 1st. In the interview, SBF was insistent that FTX was not a Ponzi scheme but a real business. The former CEO also denied any knowledge of FTX customer deposits being used to pay Alameda Research creditors, as reports claim by Alameda CEO Caroline Ellison, and according to him, he had no knowledge of any improper use of customer funds, which we know he's all telling lies, and he doesn't stop this dude. He just doubling down. Bankman-Fried also admitted he is not spending any time and effort trying to manage the risk on FTX. Here's what he shared. There was something, maybe even deeply wrong there, which was I wasn't even trying. Like, I wasn't spending any time or effort trying to manage risk on FTX, and that was obviously a mistake. If I had been spending an hour a day thinking about risk management on FTX, I don't think this would have happened, and I don't feel good about that. Now, following the collapse of FTX, the former billionaire has allegedly lost his fortune. He claimed to now only have $100,000 in his bank account and just one ATM card after his net worth was previously valued at an estimated $20 billion. Could this be the biggest fall of income for an individual, going from worth $20 billion to $100,000? And would it take a couple of weeks? But moving forward, Bankman-Fried shared that his focus is working through the regulatory and legal processes, trying to focus on what I can do forward to help people. How about you start by stop tweeting? After hours of the interview, the former CEO took to his Twitter account to expand on statements made in another interview, which took place the night before on the New York Times Dealbook Summit, which was live November 30th. In the tweet, the CEO insisted that at the time of the filing of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, he was fairly sure FTX U.S. was solvent and that all U.S. customers would be made whole. In his words, to my knowledge, it still is today. I am not sure why U.S. withdrawals were turned off, which he shares here on crypto Twitter. And on November 16th, Scam Bankman-Fried expressed deep regret over filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, calling it his biggest single F up. And according to screenshots of the Twitter convo between Vox reporter Kelsey Piper and Bankman-Fried, the former FTX CEO said that although he has made multiple mistakes, the biggest one was listening to what people told him to do in filing for the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So there you have it. How many of you have actually watched these bizarre interviews with Bankman-Fried? And isn't it ironic, day after day, he has another platform to share his propaganda, trying to cover up and making it seem like an innocent mistake when we all know the shenanigans behind the scenes which were going on, which leads us to our next story of the day, in which Novogratz says in a recent interview that Bankman-Fried should serve jail time. Now, I agree with that. I believe what he did was fraudulent, and hopefully the court system is just, and he has to pay for his crimes. But unfortunately, at the same time, it seems that a lot of the very highly powerful people, the upper ups, the elite, have been protecting him. We know that SBF is doing business with the SEC, a very dirty organization led by Gary Gensler. So there's collusion involved, absolutely. So do keep that in mind. But nonetheless, here's what Novogratz has to say. Former FTX CEO Bankman-Fried has been lambasted this week following a series of controversial public appearances with Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz, one of the latest to dish out a lashing to the former kingpin of crypto. December 1st, Galaxy Digital CEO unleashed a tirade of criticism towards SBF concerning his interview with Andrew Ross Sorkin at the New York Times Annual Dealbook Summit, November 30th. Speaking of Bloomberg, Novogratz characterized SBF as delusional following his declaration in the live interview that he never tried to commit fraud. It's kind of surprising that his lawyers are letting him speak, Novogratz said before adding, having watched 2 interviews, the word delusional kept coming to mind. Now, the lambasting didn't stop there, with Novogratz echoing sentiment from many prominent figures in the crypto community that jail time is necessary for the former FTX CEO. The reality is that Sam and his cohorts perpetuated a fraud. He stole money from people. People should go to jail. Absolutely. We're talking about stealing insane amount of money, upwards of $30 billion, and over 1 million investors have been impacted. Galaxy Digital is among the victims of the FTX collapse, having disclosed $76.8 million exposure to the bankrupt firm. Ouch. Talk about massive losses coming from Novogratz. First, he had the Luna implosion, and now FTX. The former FTX CEO also appears to be taking part in a spree of media appearances over the last few days. During an interview on Good Morning America on December 1st, Bankman-Fried insisted that FTX was not a Ponzi scheme. It was a real business. Sure, tell it to the judge, and denied knowledge of FTX customer deposits being used to pay Alameda creditors. And in a recent Twitter Spaces interview with IBC Group founder and CEO Mario Nawfal, SBF again pleaded ignorance to what was occurring with his companies. When asked about what actually happened, his response was very, very vague. Basically, and I should caveat this by stating that I unfortunately don't have access to most of the data right now. He said the reaction was equally vociferous, with many suggesting SBF was trying to paint a picture of his unfamiliarity and ignorance of what was going on. Yeah, facts. Kraken co-founder Jesse Powell called SBF out for misunderstanding how margin trading works. Quoting the Kraken co-founder here, SBF is completely full of ish about how margin trading works. He is saying that the whole exchange operated on a net account equity model, and anybody can borrow anything in any amount from client funds or from nowhere. That's not how it should work. And the creator of BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, understood to have arranged his Twitter Spaces event with SBF set for December 3rd, which is tomorrow. Meanwhile, the crypto community has roasted SBF this week over his incoherent responses and lack of accountability. On December 1st, Reflective Research co-founder and on-chain analyst William Clemente said NYT interview was painful to watch, adding, SBF is clearly talking straight out of his arse. Can't give a straight answer, even look at the camera. He is just digging himself in a deeper hole. I agree 100%, but what are your thoughts surrounding this worldwide speaking spree that he is going on, and what do you think is likely to happen to Bankman-Fried? Do you think he is likely to get away with all of his crimes, or do you think he will be punished accordingly? Let me know your honest 2 Satoshis in the comments right down below. And with that being shared, now for some breaking news in Italy. Now, just FYI, I am Italian American. My family comes from Italy. That's right. My mom's side's from Sicily, my dad's side from Naples. So when I read this, I'm like, no, what in the world are you guys doing over there? But nonetheless, they're proposing a 26% crypto tax on capital gains, which is insane to say the least. But here's the breakdown. Italy is planning to tighten regulations on digital currencies in 2023 by expanding its tax laws to include crypto trading, according to budget documentation released on December 1st. Included in its 2023 budget are plans to impose a 26% levy on profits larger than 2,000 euros, which is approximately $2,062, made on crypto trading, according to Bloomberg. And historically, digital currencies have had lower tax rates because they have been considered foreign currency. If the proposed bill is signed into law, taxpayers will have the option to declare their value of their digital asset holdings as of January 1st and pay a 14% tax. This is intended to incentivize Italians to declare their digital assets on their tax returns, and according to Tripe A data, 2.3% of the Italian population, which equates to about roughly 1.3 million people, currently own crypto assets. And by July of 2022, it was estimated that about 57% of crypto users were male, while 43% of users were female, with most of its users belonging to the 28 to 38 age group. Now, Italy appears to be following in Portugal's footsteps. In October, Portugal, once known for being a crypto tax haven, proposed a 28% tax on capital gains from cryptos held for less than a year, which is short term. Now, in its 2023 state budget, the Portuguese government addressed the taxation of cryptos, which had been previously left untouched by tax authorities because digital assets were not recognized as legal tender. Now, Portugal intends to create a broad and adequate tax framework aimed at addressing the taxation and classification of cryptocurrencies. The proposed tax bill covers operations involving crypto mining and trading, as well as capital gains. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding this 26% capital gains tax? Hey, that's one of the reasons I'm in Puerto Rico, as it is a tax shelter and considered the crypto mecca of the United States, as if you qualify for their Act 60, there are no capital gains tax on all investments, and this includes cryptocurrency. And if you don't know, now you know. But with that being shared, now let's discuss our next story of the day, which is XRP versus the SEC and the latest of what's going on with this drawn-out lawsuit. A legal expert is weighing in on how the judge in the legal battle between SEC and Ripple Labs will likely proceed. Crypto attorney James Fillon says he expects the U.S. District Judge Torres to decide which documents to unseal in the case when making a summary judgment, not before. There are three big issues outstanding. Number one, summary judgment motions. Number two, expert challenges. And number three, sealing issues regarding the expert reports, the Hinman documents, and other material relied on by the SEC and Ripple in their motions. The SEC first sued Ripple in late 2020. That's right, insane. We're talking about 2 years ago, arguing that the payments firm sold the crypto asset XRP as an unregistered security. Now, Ripple scored a recent legal victory when the court ruled in its favor, saying that the SEC must produce documents that Ripple intended to use as evidence, including a speech of interest by its former director of corporate finance, William Hinman, along with related drafts and internal emails. The speech made by Hinman in 2018 stated that Ethereum was not a security. However, now the SEC and Gary Gensler is saying that Ethereum is in fact a security. Fillon says since the Hinman documents remain sealed, any references to them in upcoming court filings will likely be redacted. Quoting him here, to the extent the Hinman documents are referenced, I think the SEC will redact those references as they have in the past. I also don't think that Judge Torres will rule on the sealing issues soon after January 9th, because it probably isn't how Judge Torres is going to approach the remainder of this case. Fillon says that the judge is likely to make one sweeping ruling during her summary judgment, just like she did in the previous cases. Quoting him here, this is exactly what the judge did in the case involving Goldman Sachs that had sealing disputes. Challenges to the experts and motions for summary judgment. When she decided those issues, she did it at the same time in one ruling, and in a footnote in that ruling, she basically said, if it is discussed here in my opinion, it's a judicial document. I relied on it, and it will be made public. So I don't think we should expect a separate ruling on the sealing of the expert materials, the Hinman documents, or other material relied on by the parties. I believe that she will decide everything together, and it won't be until she rules on the motions of the summary judgment, and it will be in one big written ruling. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding this ruling for the XRP versus SEC? Do you think it will come to fruition anytime soon? And once there is clarity and XRP is deemed either maybe a commodity, a bridge currency, or even a security, what do you think that will likely do to the rest of the crypto market? XRP price has obviously been suppressed for the past 2 years. So do you think that the SEC is purposely doing this to harm investors, or do you think they're doing this to protect investors? That's the $1 million question, and I know many of you obviously know the correct answers, so let me know in the comments right down below. And with that being shared, now let's dive into our final story of the day and discuss an update from Mike Novogratz. I've been covering this prediction here on the show, so he made a change and says he no longer believes that Bitcoin is likely to hit $500,000 per coin within the next 5 years. So it's important I share this latest update from Mike Novogratz himself. So here's the latest. Bitcoin now faces a tougher path to eventually reaching $500,000, according to Novogratz, with the Galaxy Digital chief executive backing down from his previous prediction that the token would hit that level within 5 years. Novogratz said in a recent interview with the Federal Reserve's monetary tightening campaign led by Jerome Powell, which has been the key factor that caused Bitcoin's price to plunge 63% to just under $17,000 this year. He says, no, not in 5 years. He told Bloomberg TV when asked about a previous prediction he made that Bitcoin would hit $500,000 by 2027. Now, the biggest change that has happened and the real reason Bitcoin went down from 69,000 to near 20,000 is that Jay Powell decided to find his central banking superpowers and started bashing inflation over the head with a series of rate hikes. Novogratz added, the Fed has raised interest rates by an outsized 75 basis points at each of its last 4 meetings in a bid to crush inflation, which hit 40-year highs before easing modestly to 7.7% in October. That was weighed on economic growth in the tech stocks as well as digital assets, which are now mirrored in a brutal slump that some have labeled crypto winter. In fact, the industry has also faced a string of high-profile bankruptcies, including asset manager Three Arrows Capital, lending firms BlockFi and Celsius, as well as Sam Bankman-Fried's exchange FTX, which all collapsed last month after suffering solvency crisis. Those implosions won't weigh on Bitcoin's long-term price, according to Novogratz, quoting him again here. The Fed's in control, and they're doing a darn good job, and that's the main reason why crypto went down, he said. The rest of this malarkey that we have had between Three Arrows and BlockFi and Celsius and all of these companies that were either poorly run or fraudulently run certainly is hurting the overall confidence in crypto, but this too shall pass. They will be brushed off into the dustbin of history, and the industry itself is going to emerge having learned lessons, and you are going to see the price take back off, said Novogratz. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the once bullish Luna dog, which is the one and only Novogratz. Do you feel that the Bitcoin price is likely not on track to hit that massive whopping $500,000 target in 5 years, which would be around the year 2027. However, when do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to reach a new all-time high? Are you in the camp that believes we could potentially do so in 2023, eclipsing the current all-time high we reached last year in November of 69,000? Or do you feel it's not likely to return to that all-time high until the next halving the following year, which would be 2024? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. And with that being shared, now let's dive into one of my favorite segments of the live show, which is the live Q&A, where you can literally ask me anything. I want to give a shout out to everyone in the live chat. Appreciate all your continued support. BitBud in the building. We got Tex Crypto, Niles Anders, we got Brian, we got Matthew, we got Tellingard, we got Mark Zellers, we got Nate the Great. Good to see you. We got Bitcoin Cal, we got Bitcoin Trini, we got OG Backroad Crypto Bootleg. What a username. I love it. We got Brian in the building. Welcome all for tuning in to the live show. Let's start reading out some of these comments. Tellingar says, nice words for Maxine Waters for Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, Maxine Waters is still kissing Bankman-Fried's butt on crypto Twitter, which is ironic. So that's going to be quite an interesting hearing, to say the least. S&P will fall hard, says BitBud. And I know previously you said S&P won't return to all-time highs for the next 10 to 15 years. Yeah, Maxine Waters is totally in support of Bankman-Fried. It's scandalous, to say the least. Matthew says it might. Apple is trying to charge Coinbase 30% for the Coinbase app. That's insane, 30%. And also, I think that's why Elon is like, yo, Tim, what's up? Referring to Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, saying, hey, if you're going to boycott the Twitter app from the App Store, I may have to invent my own phone, which would be quite ironic. Rudy says Sam is duping the light Friedman. Watch the morning interview. See through the mockery. Man, I couldn't even sit through the interview. It was difficult to watch. Bitcoin Cal says Dragon Dem right has it. Yeah, no way he's broke. He's still in a $40 million mansion. Great point. So he owns $100+ million in real estate in the Bahamas, and BitBoy says they may have offloaded over $1 billion from the exchange to purchase real estate. So he could be sitting on over $1 billion in real estate and still be a billionaire, but trying to make it seem like he is so innocent. And oh my God, I was worth what, 10, 20, 30 billion. Now I'm worth only $100,000. Well, say that to the people who lost every dime that they had on the exchange. How's that make you feel, Sam? You still got 100,000. A lot of people lost everything they had. There was an investor that went on TV the other day that lost $2 million on the exchange. Why did he lose $2 million? Because Bankman-Fried assured that everyone's funds were safe on FTX US, and that it did not affect the regular FTX exchange wasn't being impacted or affected by FTX US, and he blatantly lied. And within 24 hours of that tweet, which he now deleted, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, including for FTX US, and this investor literally lost $2 million. And that's just one of a million tragic stories, which is insane to say the least. BitBud says the 200-day has created a ceiling for it, so time to drop whatever the news says. Collusion, U.S. government, no way. Yeah, sarcasm, I feel it. What else is new? BitBuzz says crypto guys were grilling him on a show I heard yesterday, as they should. Dragon says, you don't think he'll get the Epstein special? No, I don't think he'll get the Epstein special whatsoever. BitBuzz says he is playing dumb. 100% he is playing ignorant. That, my friend, is a fact. Matthew says manipulative. Yes. Dumb? Nah. Nice acting job, though. Hey, maybe he'll be in Hollywood here soon. He'll be star casting in his own documentary of how I scammed a million investors out of $30 billion and got off scotch-free. That's the name of the movie, just FYI. Tex Crypto says, you think the Democrats will arrest their golden goose? Come on, man. Yeah, right. Bingo. Bring Facts says SBF shakes like a tweaker. Yeah, it's insane. Did you see like his nerves? Like when he's being interviewed, he's just like compulsively shaking, like his leg compulsively shaking. I don't know how much speed that man is on or how many drugs that dude is doing, but holy, I've never seen anything like it before. So to think that major corporations, the largest asset managers in the world, BlackRock, gave Bankman-Fried hundreds of millions of dollars while playing video games on speed, it's insane. But it's not about Bankman-Fried. It's the people behind him. It's about his parents. It's about the regulators. It's about the connections. That's why people like Mr. O'Leary are so wonderfully bullish on this kid and saying, oh, he doesn't have an evil bone on his body. If I was to do it again, I would invest in him. I believe in him. Why are they saying this? Powers that be. They probably have to say this. You don't know what type of blackmail they may have on O'Leary. Just my guess, right? But anyone supporting Bankman-Fried right now, all the puff pieces being published by, the New York Times and the lamestream media, there's a reason. You know what I mean? So if you want the reality of the situation, watch Max Kaiser on Tucker Carlson. I got to watch that whole interview. I watched the clip of it here this morning. I can't wait to watch the whole thing. Greetings to you as well, Mark. BitBuzz says, that's the thing, fam. The U.S. and the world could have a 50% tax on crypto. Then we're screwed. The dark side could easily do this. Yeah, absolutely. They regulate all the crypto and they just say, yeah, we're going to tax Bitcoin. There's so much profit in it. Let's tax it 50%. Hey, hence why I'm in Puerto Rico right now. Hence why many of you may come to Puerto Rico in the future or even El Salvador to take advantage of some of the tax incentives. Bitcoin Cal says Italians got the best gangsters. Sounds like they're all in, the government. Shout out to the... I'll just leave it at that. BitBuzz says... They want CBDCs in the Fed wallet. Yeah, absolutely. Facts. Brian says ETH will flip BTC. Staking makes much more sense and it's deflationary. However, it's now going to be deemed a security by the SEC because it is no longer a proof of work, but it is now a proof of stake. Yeah, let's see what happens. Hiram says private coins at the protocol level. Brian says Poly Dogecoin. Is that a real coin? Is that Polygon and Dogecoin birthing their own coin? Please do explain. BitBuzz says GLDG is the gold mining stock that will gain 100 to 500%. Don't miss this one, fam. Very interesting. Mark says, I don't get XRP. I don't like it as it is part of the World Economic Forum. However, it is what it is. Why is the SEC going after it? Are they trying to prevent small investors from getting it? Yeah, absolutely. Here's my 2 Satoshis. Obviously, it's a crypto for bridge payments, which is a part of the system. So you would think the government be in full support of it. But I think the government tried to create their own version of it and kick them to the side. And I think they put in this lawsuit approximately 2 years ago to discourage investors from buying and selling and trading it, which would suppress the price of it. Because obviously, more than likely, they don't want you to own it. If they did, they wouldn't deem it, potentially a security, and it wouldn't have been delisted from all the major exchanges in the world, including, Coinbase, et cetera, et cetera. So just my 2 cents, they probably don't want you to own it. They probably have real use case for it being introduced into the mainstream, and who knows. But all I know, if they don't want you to own it, there's a reason, and it's probably going to explode. That's all I got to say. Am I a bag holder of it? No, just being 100% honest. I like decentralization. I love Bitcoin. I can't really invest in a lot of these centralized things. However, it is what it is, and so be it. Nate says, Italy, if I heard that right, 14% one time on crypto assets, not income. That is insane and a terrible precedent. Yeah, I mean, it sucks to live in Europe right now. Is all I got to say. It's not so fun. Mark Zellers, yeah, but Bitcoin ADA logos were on the cover. Nice, Brian. I had a lot of Litecoin too. Now I am consolidated into Bitcoin and Ethereum only. Brian says, explain the GLDG stock and why it's going up before something like MULN. Interesting. Brian says, I lost 50% of all my Bitcoin and Litecoin when the feds took down the Bitcoin price in 2017. That's why HODL be thy name. Brian says, JV, you're funny. $31 to $2 in 2011. Bitcoin is dead. It's a Ponzi. 2013, we went from $1,000 to $167 in 2015. It's dead again. 2017, 2020, Bitcoin went from $20,000 to $3,000 in March of 2020. That's right. Deja vu. Seize the moment. It's a new dance. The Sam Bankman-Fried. Shake, 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 shake your booty. Do the Bankman on the dance floor. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mark Zellers, El Salvador is the answer. Yeah, I agree. So shout out to Nayib Bukele and the people of El Salvador. And shout out to Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert for all their work down there on the ground. Telengard says, Brian, us pop 330 million approximately U.S. crypto users is like 0.05 at $600. That's 9.9 billion. Worthy amount to get the sharks moving. Rudy says, JV with the lawsuit facts, in my opinion. Say it loud, my brother. They want us poor and stupid. That's the unfortunate truth. The SEC is disguised to say, yo, we're here to protect investors, but they do anything but protect investors. They want you poor and they want you stupid, and that's an unfortunate fact, and it's hard to digest for many of you who are maybe just awakening, not sure what's really happening in the world, but it is a sad reality. The only ones who got your back, it's like Satoshi, God. Yeah, who really has your back? Not the government, not the SEC, not Gary Gensler, no exchange CEO. They don't really care about you. They care about their business and protecting their bottom at the end of the day. And you got to also keep in mind that Bitcoin is a direct threat to the powers that be. That's why they indirectly are harassing and manipulating the entire crypto sector. Why do you think they put bad actors such as Sam Bankman-Fried in an big position to own the second largest crypto exchange in the world? Why did they do that? Because they want to take everything down. They want to suppress the crypto price. It's a direct threat to the banking, central banking cartels. This, my friend, is a fact. To me, it's so clear, but for so many people, it's like, why would they do this? You know what I mean? It could be an honest, no, it's not an honest mistake. It's not coincidence. This is all engineered to be this way. It's just the way of the world. It is what it is. How do we unplug from this matrix? How do we unplug from the slave mind? Number one, shut off your TV. Maybe get a baseball bat and destroy it. Do what you got to do, but stop listening to the mainstream narrative. And also start stacking sats. F the CBDCs. I'm not going to participate whatsoever. If they force us to do it, I'm still not going to comply. I'm just going to use Bitcoin. I'm not even going to use the dollar no more. If I don't have to use the dollar because it's no longer physical and they force you to use a CBDC, no, I opt out. I opt out with Bitcoin. I opted out of the matrix back in 2017. That's why I love Bitcoin so much. It allows you an opportunity to opt out and find another way, because I don't want to be enslaved by central bank digital currencies. Like as if we're not enslaved enough. Look at the taxes. Look at inflation. That's a tax on the entire world. All the shenanigans going on. So you have to enlighten yourself to find out what's really happening. And that's why I love crypto so much, because it gets you orange pilled to the truth and helps your awakening of consciousness so you can see and separate reality from the mainstream narrative, which is a deception to say the least. Bring facts to self-custody your Bitcoin, and the rest will play out 100%. Facts. Protect your crypto, not your keys, not your cheese. Chuck says SBF fit the narrative. Sure did. Nate says, oh, forgot to smash that like button. Just did. I appreciate that. The greatest thing you can do to help support the show. Smash the like as if it's Sam Bankman-Fried's face himself. And don't forget to turn on all notifications and be subscribed to the channel and drop comments not only in the live chat but in the main comment section, as it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And as you can see, we see Bitcoin currently trading still above 16,900. I'm optimistic. I think 2023, things will start to turn around. I think the pendulum swung way to the left this year with all the contagion from the, Luna, Three Arrows Capital, FTX, Celsius, and the list goes on and on. But I think the pendulum will start swinging back in our favor next year. So fingers crossed. Niall says, Christine Lagarde says Bitcoin won't exist in 10 years. I hope Christine Lagarde doesn't exist in the next 10 years. Just saying. Robert says, what's your thoughts on the metaverse, like decentralized poker games? Personally, I think the metaverse can be used for evil, obviously. But I also recognize how powerful it is. Like, I've used the Oculus, I've experienced it firsthand, and I can see the power of it because it puts you in a completely different reality. And how it does that is mind-boggling. You can have an ayahuasca ceremony with this Oculus headset, and you can be in the jungle of the Amazon sipping on this hallucinogenic tea, and it can feel so freaking real because it distorts your entire reality. So I am bullish on it for the long haul. However, I stress extreme caution because I don't trust Zuckerberg. I don't trust any of these powerful people who are in power right now, who are developing these things. So that's what you got to be on the lookout for. Also, the same way I don't trust Elon putting a Neuralink in my brain. I think you have to be literally insane to even want that. But so you got to beware of technology and AI because it could be used for evil and more than likely will be used for evil. How can I say that so confidently? Because everything is used for evil. The dollar is used for evil. Central banks are used for evil. Governments are used for evil. SEC is used for evil. Exchanges are used for evil. So why would I think differently? You feel me? Matthew says it's only destruction if you sell. Whoa, very detailed. I appreciate it, Robert. Glad you enjoyed it. Chuck says exactly. Bitcoin counts as JV word. Word to your mother. Brian says electric cars also emit dangerous EMFs. 100%. It's all a fraud. Obviously it's all a fraud. Global warming is a fraud. Pandemic prevention donation things are fraud. Everything that SBF was donating to was fraudulent. So that's how you know that his so-called altruism is fake. It's more like autism. Sorry, but it is what it is. Jeff says, how long will Bitcoin go and when will it hit the bottom is the big question now. That is a great question. That's why I love to know your thoughts in the comments. I think the bottom can potentially be the $10,000 range. 10 to 12,000 is my guess if I had to guess. And I think we can bottom out first quarter of 2023. I don't think it's likely to happen this month. But then again, anything could happen. And I don't really know. It's just my perspective. So let me know if you agree or disagree. I think we return to an all-time high not till 2024. And then I think we surpass that all-time high, reaching the peak cycle high in 2025, which is a year preceding the halving. And I think we can realistically surpass 100,000. Could it be 200,000? Yeah, anything's possible. But I think just very conservatively, if we 2x the previous all-time high of 69,000, that would take us to 138,000, I think very realistically in 2025. Can we potentially see a super cycle and go to 200,000-300,000, especially with inflation? Yeah, it's a possibility. Anything can happen. Money laundering at its best. Exactly. FTX existed as money laundering facility by the elite. That's why they're protecting SBF. Don't get it twisted. Nate says, I think the bottom's already in. Bitcoin is holding up too well with all the SBF contagion already going on. Yeah, I just hope more contagion doesn't occur. I just hope another black swan event doesn't occur. I just hope USDT doesn't collapse or something like that, which many insiders have been calling on for quite some time. Yeah, it is what it is, Steve. Autism. He definitely has autism. Matt, and I'm not knocking autism. I'm just pointing out that altruism was fake. His veganism, fake. I've never met a vegan with boobs. And when I say that, I'm just being honest. I've never met someone who was vegan, who was overweight. Yeah, he lost a lot of weight, it looked like, from amphetamines and whatever speed and drugs he was on. But I've never seen an overweight vegan my entire life. I don't know any personally. That's why it raised the red flag, and I just didn't trust him from the go. As soon as he said, I donate I believe in giving away. I'm the most generous billionaire in the world, and I want to give away all of my money and donate it. And I looked at the causes he was donating his fortune to: Joe Biden, Democrats, pandemic prevention, which is the ones causing the problem in the first place, not arresting, but basically, why is the reason all of humanity were locked down in their house and couldn't go anywhere? Pandemic prevention. So scam bankman-fried. And then global warming. And it's just, oh my God. Right then and there, I knew he was 100% fraudulent. 100%, like without a question, because he's supporting all the most fraudulent causes, which are giving more power to the powers that be. Trini says, preach. We were 19 to 21,000 for months too. BitBuds makes a great point. Matthew says, do you think Bitcoin bottoms before the alts? I think regulation could help Bitcoins and hurt the alts. That's a good question, and honestly, I don't know. Chuck says, I'm with you on that, JV. Skip says, if you are still holding altcoins, you are taking a huge risk from coming regulation. Makes a great point. That's why this filing or the results with the SEC versus Ripple Labs is so important. This will set precedents for the rest of the crypto community. Because if they deem XRP a security after calling it not a security back in 2017, 2018, they're going to absolutely deem Ethereum a security, and they're going to deem a lot of ERC20 tokens a security, and that would suck for crypto. That's why I really hope XRP wins the lawsuit for the sake of the entire broader crypto community. BitBuzz says, if S&P drops like it will put Bitcoin down as well. Yeah, more than likely. Steve says that Bitcoin and the market starts recovering now. We will see at least a couple of 0.75 rate hikes from the Fed. This is why I can't have nice things. Nate says things are darkest before the dawn. That's right. Even at the end of the darkest tunnel comes what? The light. Facts. Juan says if he is generous, he should sell all of his properties and his cash and give it to his clients. Exactly. That's how you know he's fraudulent. He wouldn't have 100,000 in his bank account, and he wouldn't be sitting on 100+ million in properties and potentially billions of dollars worth of properties. He'd give it to humanity because he believes in giving it away. But he obviously is a fake altruistic character, unfortunately, taking advantage of people by pretending to be a philanthropist. Just like, what's his name in the early 1900s? Standard Oil dude, Rockefeller, did the same thing. This is from the Rockefeller playbook. Jeff says after the next presidential election and we get a conservative back in the White House, at the same point, Bitcoin begins to recover for real, we'll make back the money. Okay. Matthew says all stocks are securities. Crypto securities can still be good in the long term, but regulation will send them down in the short term, in my humble opinion. Word. Well, with that being shared, now let's dive into the big finish and a recap of what I covered with you here in today's live show. We discussed Bitcoin miner outflow ratio hitting a 6-month high and being a new threat to the Bitcoin price action. We also discussed the latest from former FTX CEO Scam Bankman-Fried denying improper use of customer funds. Tell it to the judge, dog. Also in today's show, we discussed Mike Novogratz calling out Sam Bankman-Fried and saying he is delusional and headed to jail. I'd be saying the same thing if I just invested all that money in FTX. Also in today's show, Italy to impose a whopping 26% capital gains tax on crypto profits larger than $2,062. Also in today's show, I shared the latest updates regarding Ripple versus the SEC as crypto legal expert breaks down the upcoming ruling in the XRP lawsuit. We also discuss Mike Novogratz pulling back his $500,000 Bitcoin price prediction by the year 2027 and blaming the Fed rate hikes. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's show.